So we're going to talk about today how menopause can affect your career progression. So my name is Tracy Montgomery. I talk about all things menopause, midlife, and all the crap that comes with it, and there can be a lot. So we know that the menopause can affect all of our life. It can affect what's happening to us. It can affect how we interact with other people, and it can affect people's perceptions about what we're going through. And that can be from fellow females as well. So let's think specifically about what's going on with us connected with work. So the first thing is how your body is responding to this hormonal change. So we can get physical symptoms. So we know those physical symptoms can be things like the hot flashes or hot flushes, whatever you call them, wherever you are, night sweats, fatigue, and these can have an impact on how we operate as a person, how we perform. So things like if you're having a hot flash, if you are in the middle of you're in the middle of an announcement, you're projecting to people, you're leading a group of people, you're addressing people, and you're having a hot flash. So for starters, that's going to be incredibly embarrassing. And it will depend on the audience that you are addressing, because some of that audience may not understand quite what's going on with you. So your employers can have in place systems and strategies to recognise this, to support you through this, to help alleviate the impact that this can have on you as a person and help you with these physical symptoms. So such things they can have in place are things like flexible work patterns, so that you can adjust your time scales, because if you're normally hot flashing or if you're fatigued in the morning, maybe you could come in later, your hours could be changed, that sort of things. One of the other symptoms, or one of the myriad of symptoms that can affect how we perform within our job roles, within our work performance, can be our cognitive abilities. Now, we can have brain fog. Now, we sometimes laugh about this, don't we? Found the keys in the freezer, that sort of thing. But that can impact our work, because if we've got to remember things, and the one thing that I found that a lot of women, myself included, forget or misplace or don't recognize are names. Naming people, naming things. You can forget them. You can know that you know them, but you can't quite put your finger on what that name actually is. And that can undermine how you feel about yourself, how you feel about delivering certain topics or any topics. But that can then lead more into the mood swings, because we can't always control those. They're because our hormones, our nurture hormones, our look after us hormones have disappeared, or they're decreasing. So our moods can change quite rapidly without any warning. And there can be certain triggers which we can note. And these can, again, be taken into account when you are working. So you may possibly need to talk to somebody about how this is making you feel. At no point think that you're the only person that is going through this. You're not the only woman in the world that has had these symptoms that are going to impact and be quite debilitating. Along with the menopause and the timing of the menopause. So menopause normally happens post 40. So once you get past 40, it's thought, you're going to at some point hit menopause. Not necessarily so. There's no point turning around to a woman who is in her 20s and saying, you've got ages to go before you hit menopause. Not necessarily so, because it can happen at an earlier age. So Do not assume, we should never assume that it's going to happen to everybody post 40. Don't assume that it is a short span, but the majority of women are going to go through the menopause post 40. That just happens to be the time when there's normally advancements to the higher levels of career progression. So they don't always match. So is this an ageism? We know that there are not as many within business, we know that there are not as many women in the higher levels of business management as there are men. Now that could be our society, the way that our society is set up, but that all comes into the misogyny that we have within our society. The traditional path for a woman, female, is that once she hits childbearing age, she's going to have a little bit of time off. That then impacts her ability to creep up the ladder. And again, as women get a little bit older, because the caring, the nurturing side of any family normally falls to the women, women take the time out. So whether that's to look after the children when the children are younger, the parents when the parents get older and need a little bit more support, or other family members that need more support, or the grandchildren. It's normally the women that do this. So women get taken out of the workforce, even though women have a lot to offer. So is it ageism? Is it sexism? Is it the misogynistic society that we grow in? These are the things that we need to address with our employers so that we take these on board when we are applying to certain companies. There's also the stigma that's attached to the change. Oh, you're going to get through that. Oh, it's not going to affect you that much. And then if you do have a bout of not coping, your moods are all over the place, you're having hot flashes, it's a woman's thing. But we don't have to put up with it. We don't have to take it. We need to do something about it. There are strategies that we can put in place that can help us through it. And we need to know that when we are working for somebody, that employer is somebody that understands that and takes that on board. Because we have a lot of fatigue issues, because we have a lot of nurturing responsibilities, we need to be able to make sure that we are working for somebody who will allow us a work-life balance that does not diminish us as a person, but supports us and allows us to still progress and grow. We can then work with empowered women. Women have amazing skill sets. We nurture, we look after people, we allow people to grow. That's why you will find that women traditionally have been pushed into the service roles of looking after people, the nursing roles, the teaching roles, primary teaching, because it's the looking after side more. So when you're taking on a new position, when you're in your position, you need to make sure that your employers are open to talking to you, and you need to make sure that your employers are approachable. So if they're not, there are other avenues that you can explore. I'm open to talking to you about any of those avenues. And remember that I am here to help support you through the menopause, midlife, and all that goes with it. Hope that's being useful, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.